Okay, good evening, everyone. Are we good to start?
Good
Good
evening,
evening,
madam.
madam.
So can we start, Harinakshi ma'am?
Okay, madam, we can start. Almost 25 people are there. 23 are there.
Okay.
You can
Okay.
start, madam. It's already two.
Okay, fine. Okay. So let's start today. And actually, I was thinking that what should I do? Should I continue with RPA and all? But then I thought that I have initiated the, seed into your mind, and let us make sure that you people go ahead and learn UI path. Yesterday, I shared a kind of a file or some exercise on UI path, which we discussed yesterday, the last session with Harinakshi ma'am. I think she will send it to you and you can go ahead and do it on your own, some practice. Today, also, I will be telling you about certain tools and certain trend in the technology and what are the things which are being used. So I was actually speaking to the university placement department, and I spoke to the engineering software engineering department, and I asked them that what is it that the companies are looking at and what are the new trend. So they said that okay, fine, apart from what you people are learning like Python or IoT or whatever technology, they ask you, there will be one test on that. But then apart from that, they also want to understand whether you have the knowledge or do you have the understanding of the trend around you, what is happening around you in terms of technology, in terms of how your the technology is improving, and what are the things which organizations are using. So that's what then I thought that why not take a kind of a session, and I asked few of them to give me some suggestion and they gave, and out of that whatever I was able to understand myself and able to make you understand, those things only I picked up, because not it's not that everything I will be able to understand and explain. So there are a lot of things which they have told me, so I'm just going to take you through those. So the today's session I have named it as tech trend. Okay, so tech trend is going to be a very interesting one, which is going to talk about what are the different kinds of tools or the technology which is trending, and how the future of technology or IT or the companies are. What do you see? What kind of vision a company has, and what kind of demand for the skilled labor is required in today's world. Okay, just give me a few seconds. And there will be small exercise which you can do using certain tools which I want you people to learn and develop yourself. Just give me a few seconds. Okay, so let's see some of the trend. So almost all of you are basically trying to become a software developer, or maybe some of you are trying to work in an information technology. You are aiming to do that, right? So there are a lot of people who are aiming to do the same. You are putting a lot of effort to learn a language, to learn coding, and that's good. You are going in the right direction. And but at the same time, there's a parallel line or a parallel trend which is going on, and this parallel trend is about developing hundreds and thousands of product and technologies which will have a huge long term impact, and where the major emphasis is on that you work and play, you have fun and play. You don't have to think a lot. The technology, you just give a little trigger and the technology does everything for you. So when a technology first appears, it looks very difficult for all of us. When computer first appeared, everybody was very scared of computer because it was on DOS, and you have to learn a lot of commands. You have to know a lot of internal and external command. Then, the Microsoft Window came, Apple launched the Mac operating system. So, mouse was introduced. With the click of a mouse, you can just, open certain applications on different windows. You can do anything with a simple click of the mouse, and it became very easy. And now it is like child's play if the child is born and they're playing with the computers. So, similar thing happens when so this trend is going on where technology initially will look very, very difficult, very scary. But in the due course of time, that technology tools will be improved by many other company, making it more easier and convenient and user friendly to the people who want to use these tools but doesn't want to go through a very difficult path of learning it. So what are these new tools? Why are they potentially so important? There are certain controversies also. As a technologist, what do you need to learn more? How do you want to prepare yourself so that tomorrow when you are going to work in the organization, you are not stick to one technology, or you're not stick only to coding. You know how to work in the parallel technology, how to work on the another tool or another application which doesn't require so much of issues. Because see, today you're learning Python, right? And tomorrow you are writing codes, so you are doing trial and error method. But when you are working in the organization, there's no room for trial and error method. You can't go to somebody and ask that, I learned, but I'm not able to do this, can you please help? So there will be a problem. So how to deal with that? So there are so many tools, students. I'm going to tell you, pay attention. These are going to bring and make your life easier as a developer and as a software or the IT person. Your life will become very smooth. You don't have to go through many courses, or you don't have to lower your self esteem thinking that I don't know how to do this, or I am stuck at one particular point. So that's where I'm going to focus on today. And I'm also going to focus on how the technology, how the organizations are going forward with what kind of technology. So the first thing which I thought was to talk about metaverse. Okay, all of you might have heard about this metaverse, because this word was very popular and become viral when Mark Zuckerberg announced, saying that I want to rename Facebook, not renaming in a sense, but I want to call the Facebook company as Metaverse company. And people started actually searching on the Google. So the Google found this as a most searched word in that particular year in 2021, sorry, 2022, 20, sorry. So the internet today, so what Mark Zuckerberg actually called, it says that metaverse is the world where you have a feeling of presence, the feeling of present. So it's an immersive sensory experience, because today what we happen is that people are people get bored and any technology become outdated very fast. When you're watching some films or any content on Netflix or maybe a cinema theater, you are just passively sitting in your seat and just watching it. What if there is an experience, an immersive experience, where you become a part of it and you feel that I'm really experiencing this is happening around me. I'm not watching some static pictures or dynamic pictures on the screen. It is something which I'm able to experience. Can I touch galaxy? Can I, the students, when we were very kids and we used to hear a story about Bal Hanuman went and fought with his mother and said, I want that yellow ball which is on the sky, and what is that, I want to eat that up, not knowing that It is a sun, it's going to, nobody can go near the sun and it's going to burn. Similarly, every small kid, or when you're growing up, you have lot of imaginations, lot of fantasies, and you feel that, can I do this? Can I go to Mars? Can I touch stars? So all these things can become a reality, and that kind of reality, not in a real sense, but in a virtual sense. So let me take an example. Okay, and one of my favorite game, I actually love playing ping pong. So I thought I will take this example and tell you. So a ping pong table, actually, if I want to play this and I want to have to go to a particular center or a club where there's a big ping pong table, which will take up a lot of room, and it's not just a table. The room around the table, you need to have certain people watching you. So I cannot have that in my house. What if I want to play ping pong in my house? Then there are two things. One, I need room, a bigger room. I need a table. I need all kinds of equipments. I also need a player to play against me. And I want a player who will be on my level. If I'm a beginner, the player should be beginner. If I'm an expert, the player should be business. So how do I do that? Can I get an immersive experience? Can you make your brain think that you are witnessing something which actually, whatever your experience is, in a new reality? So the problem with my game of ping pong is that it is hard to find a big room or a table to put the ping pong table and play. Also, it is hard to find someone who can play with me anytime when I want, and it can be a challenging play, but not too challenging. I can decide what kind of challenge it should be. So that's where the metaverse can step in. It will give you a virtual environment that make you think that you are there, and you can play against a robot that challenge you at the right level. It will match your level, and the space need is also minimum. The computer can match me with the players of similar skills. I can put a demand on it that, okay, my skill is that, it can understand my skill, and accordingly it will create a robot which will match my skills and play with me. So the virtual environment change your perception of reality, and it can make you feel that you can move around the world and do anything by sitting at your home. And so it is actually going to merge the digital and the physical world. Like Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella also said, the metaverse enabled us to embed the computing environment into real world, or real world into computing. So you can ask metaverse for example to learn. So let us see how it does, right? Okay. So we saw that how this is just for entertainment purpose. But can we ask metaverse for making us learn something, create by creating a virtual environment for us? Yes, that is also possible. Let's say you want to open a store, a physical store, and you want to know that how well you can organize your store layout for a maximum utilization or optimization. So you also want to know how will your store set up, the physically setup should be, so that you can put a virtual customers and see that what kind of space you can use, how you can maximize or utilize the space and get the maximum profit out of it. It is not only going to give you a physical view, the virtual view of your store, but also it can help you in making you understand that how you can maximize a pricing to get a maximum benefit or the profit. So let's see that.
How would you like to hang out with friends, attend concerts with stars like Travis Scott, Post Malone, and Ariana Grande, take yoga classes, and you guessed it, shop right from home? You can in the metaverse, a virtual online world.
I've purchased and acquired thousands of digital pieces of clothing.
Kevin Clark is an avid metaverse shopper. This is his avatar. He spends about 4 hours a day in the digital world.
This is just one of the many outfits that I have. I spent probably $5,000 to $8,000 just in the last 2 years.
That's money Kevin spent on clothes he only wears in the metaverse. Senior media and tech correspondent Julia Borston reports on the metaverse for CNBC. Why do you think people want to spend real money on digital assets, things they can't have in real life?
People are spending real money in the metaverse. They want to have an experience that's more like their real life experience, or in some ways, maybe even better.
Big name brands like Nike, Tommy Hilfiger, Hyundai, and Chipotle getting in early. One study predicts the metaverse will have $2 trillion in e-commerce value by 2030. Design firms are building polished metaverse storefronts like this one, provided exclusively to NBC News by interior architects. They say national brands hope to use these virtual spaces to attract real customers. So how does it work? For most users, it starts here on your phone or here on a computer. My metaverse journey begins on Roblox, a virtual world popular with preteens, but don't be fooled by the cartoonish appearance. There are more than 40 million daily active users, and this is where millions of dollars in virtual commerce is happening. Here I am. My tour guide is Shu Min Wee, a senior product manager at Roblox. That's her avatar, and there's mine. We start our virtual shopping spree at Gucci.
Okay,
All
so
right.
we are in the store, and much like a real life store, we have all of Gucci's different items really nicely merchandised. You'll see on the walls, they have some of their homeware. The skateboards are on the wall, as well as the Blondie bags for sale, menswear, t-shirts as well.
What I like about this is it feels like you're actually in a store with these products around you, even though they're virtual. I try on a few items. So I just bought a pair of sunglasses. Let's see what I look like. Next, we head to the Van store where you can design and purchase sneakers. Look at, I'm designing my own shoe. After our shopping spree, I spend about $10 real for virtual items that can only be worn by my avatar inside Roblox. Look at my little avatar. We're actually voguing, if you recall, Madonna fans out there. A big draw of shopping in the metaverse is the accessibility of luxury brands.
Just like buying a Gucci bag in the real world is a status symbol, buying a virtual Gucci bag is also a status symbol for your avatar.
Here in the Decentraland metaverse, users can roam a massive virtual land where they can peruse art galleries, purchase NFTs, and make transactions using cryptocurrency on the blockchain. Running right into the stores just as I would in real life. That's my Decentraland avatar in one of the many storefronts throughout the platform. So I'm going to put on the mask that I just bought. Check it out. I have my new mask on. And these aren't all virtual products. For example, the NFT watch here, if I purchase it in the metaverse, I also get sent a real watch. The cost, about $700. Does it boggle your mind?
It is amazing how much money people are spending. I personally would still rather have a physical good, but if people are spending a lot of time in the metaverse, maybe it makes sense.
As for Kevin, he says his digital wardrobe has real life value.
It's going to last. It's going to have the same quality forever. I can hand that down to my kid.
You'll never outgrow it.
I mean,
either.
think about it. Yeah, you'll never outgrow it. That's so true. You never age in the metaverse. So think about that. You get an avatar, right? It's got these virtual things. You give it to the next generation in real life. And actually, I think what was very cool is people can design things in the metaverse.
Yeah,
and then if you sell it to other users, you can make real money.
Yeah.
So there's a creative aspect.
Right.
The guys in the back were saying, imagine TV directing. Everything is connected to the internet now. You can start doing these things from home, go to college classes from home
learn,
in the metaverse.
yeah.
So there are other applications besides shopping that could be really interesting.
I do think that, and you don't listen to the piece there, this idea that traditional brick and mortar stores are going to use the metaverse as a way to promote their brand. I think that's
a gateway for sure, because you're in the Gucci store in the virtual world, and then you walk by a brick and mortar. Maybe you want to go in and see the real stuff.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
but it's $6 in the metaverse.
Yeah.
It's not $6 in the real world.
Take the $6 version.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
I like the creative aspect
Yes.
of
Exactly.
it. Like you design a shoe, that's like entertainment.
Yes.
Paying money to like make a video game better
get a
makes
bucket
sense
hat.
to me.
you can buy real estate. People are spending big money on real estate.
So that's I don't
That's-
understand.
What's happening?
In
Jake?
metaverse?
Yeah.
No, I'm not going.
You're not going
I'm
there?
here with you guys.
Yeah.
Very much.
All
That
right.
was great.
Okay, so you saw that basically in the metaverse, what is happening? People are coming up and they are basically living in the world of fantasy, where you can't buy certain premium items or luxury item like Gucci, Louis Vuitton, and all, but you can buy it online and can create a digital asset. Though I'm not suggesting, I'm against it, but then still there are a lot of things which are happening in the world of metaverse, and people are liking it. People, mostly the young generations. So I also went through certain articles. So one of the article, according to the Qualcomm, said that Meta sold 10 million Oculus Quest 2 headset, the Oculus Facebook set, and also announced that there is a content store where you can purchase VR content, and that the purchase of the VR content was actually moving more than 1 billion per month. So people are buying around the digital assets, which is becoming a craze, right? So metaverse is already doing this kind of bringing those kinds of change. But there are certain other companies apart from Facebook, which is also using the metaverse concept and trying to cash into that business. So one is Microsoft. The Microsoft company also have a big plan for metaverse. So they have also, bought a particular gaming publisher called Activision by paying $69 billion. And this is the, company which is into gaming. And you know that Microsoft has a, gaming box, Microsoft X. So they also wanted to come out of some kind of a game or developer or coding with a user base, which can give access to a user or which can give an immersive experience to the user. So the kind of the famous games what they have, like Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1 and 2, the popular brand like Call of Duty, Elder Scroll, Doom, Fallout, and Warcraft, all these are now converted into metaverse where you can feel a part of it. So I'll just show you one.
Hey, thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Find your favorite recipes, celebrity interviews, uplifting stories, shop our favorite deals, and so much more.
1 minute, just a minute.
How would you like to hang out with friends, attend concerts with stars like Travis Scott, Post Malone?
Okay. Just let me share it again.
How would you like to hang out with friends, attend concerts with stars like Travis Scott, Post Malone, and Ariana Grande? How would you like to hang out with friends? How would you like to hang out with friends, attend concerts he only wears in the metaverse? And better, big name brands on your phone or here on a computer. My metaverse journey begins on Roblox, a virtual world popular with preteens, but don't be fooled by the cartoonish appearance. There are more than 40 million daily active.
Okay, let me just close that video. The videos are overlapping. That's why it's running like that.
How would you like to hang out with friends, attend concerts with stars like Travis Scott, Post Malone,
fine.
and
I'm
Ariana
just
Grande?
going to-
Take yoga classes.
Just delete it. Okay, so what is happening is that there are a lot of companies, including Google, Apple, Disney, Sony, they are working on the metaverse strategy. So now the companies are getting actually ready to provide you a metaverse experience. At the same time, they want people who can work with this technology, who should know how to create the content on this technology. So that's where the metaverse is going to come into picture. So I'm going to just show you how Apple is using metaverse.
Mark Zuckerberg is trying to suck as much of the metaverse market share as he possibly can. But that doesn't mean the other big tech companies are just going to roll over and settle for second place. What about Apple? Well, they have big plans to make themselves market leaders in the metaverse. In fact, Apple plans to unveil an augmented reality device before the end of 2022, and this is just the beginning. Speaking about the device, renowned Apple analyst Ming-Chi Kuo said it would be installed with two processors. One of the processors will be high-end and similar to the M1 used in Mac models. The chip features a dedicated neural engine with 16 processing cores of its own, aimed at handling insane artificial intelligence tasks, an essential aspect of the metaverse. The second, lower-end processor will handle sensor-related computing. Kuo's statements have to be taken seriously because he has a solid reputation for correctly predicting Apple's activities. A perfect example is in 2014, when he accurately predicted the launch of the Apple Watch. While other tech giants have rushed to launch their own versions of the metaverse, Apple, in its usual fashion, has chosen to hold its cards close to its chest. It appears that they want to let the other competitors flood the market with rushed, half-baked gadgets, then disrupt the market with a game-changing product that will win over the masses. This is the same strategy that the company used in 2007, when it launched the flagship iPhone handset. Despite other companies such as Nokia and BlackBerry enjoying a significant market share, the company swooped in with a revolutionary piece of tech that disrupted how the world interacts with mobile phones. DM Martin's founder, Daniel Martins, has also said that Apple's strength lies in its ability to read the demand very well and then aggressively market products that deliver what the market needs at a relatively higher price. Apple CEO Tim Cook has further fueled the anticipation of the company finally revealing its own metaverse. In a September 2021 interview with YouTuber iJustine, Cook referred to himself as AR fan number one. He hailed augmented reality as one of the very few profound technologies that have the potential to embed themselves in our daily lives permanently. He said, "You know, I am so excited about AR. I think AR is one of these very few profound technologies that we will look back on one day and ask, how did we live without it? Right now, you can experience it in thousands of ways, using your iPad or your iPhone. But of course, those will get better and better over time. This was not the first time Cook has spoken favorably of augmented reality. In April 2021, he described it as critically important to Apple's future. Apple's entry into the metaverse is also seen as an important part of the metaverse's long-term success, at least according to analysts at Morgan Stanley. Research notes from the bank stated that mass market adoption of both augmented and virtual reality would be realized when Apple joins the race. The analysts said they were not concerned by Apple's notable absence in the AR and VR hardware scene. After all, we have already seen that Apple is notorious for its patient approach to new markets, which hands it an advantage for a more memorable market entry. In what is perhaps seen as Apple's most notable move towards the entry into the metaverse, the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office published an application for a patent from Apple in October 2021. The application was about a futuristic metaverse software related to business meetings. Some of the aspects covered by the patent include techniques for utilizing an enhanced reality setting to display virtual objects, all these under an attenuating mode being active. The patent also details a set of systems that will enable users to interact with enhanced reality settings. Through this patent's publication, we also get an idea of Apple's potential head-mounted devices that will contribute to making the metaverse dream become a reality. The device is expected to feature microphones for audio purposes, image sensors for imagery and visual purposes, and a transparent or semi-transparent display. Apple may be spoiled for choice on the type of display to go with, ranging from LEDs, OLEDs, and liquid crystal on silicone, among others. According to this patent publication, Apple's vision of the metaverse will also enable users to mirror their physical hand movements while in a virtual meeting. Users will also have an option not to mirror their movements. As the company gears towards the metaverse era, it has sought the services of the creme de la creme in the virtual and augmented reality industry. One such genius is computer science professor Doug Bowman. Bowman is famous for being the Virginia Tech's Center for Human-Computer Interaction leader. His specialization is in 3D user interface design, and he has also authored a book that discusses 3D interfaces and the benefits of immersive virtual environments. The company has also aggressively poached experts from Microsoft and Lytro. We don't know whether this is just a coincidence or if Apple's move is a strategized one, but one thing's for sure. The hires poached from Microsoft were previously working on Microsoft's HoloLens. HoloLens are mixed reality sunglasses by Microsoft. Also, the team from Lytro was working on a camera that will blend live action and computer graphics to produce a live action virtual reality experience for the users. Apple's ambitions for the metaverse are also evident in its recent legal battle with Epic Games. You will recall that Apple kicked the company's popular game Fortnite off the App Store. This was due to Epic's alleged violation of Apple's digital payments rules by establishing its own payment system. Although the legal battle is still on, Epic Games CEO Tim Sweeney thinks Apple wants to build a monopoly out of the metaverse. In an interview with CNN, Sweeney said that there is an urgent need to win the fight against platform monopolies. This was in light of Apple and Google having rules that bar the metaverse from existing on their platforms. The companies also require users to only use their web browsers. Essentially, Sweeney was airing his concern about Apple and Google's potential total domination of the metaverse if no rules were established to prevent this from happening. This might be a negative point, but it helps drive home the point that Apple is burning the midnight oil to affirm its position in the metaverse. On November 18th, Sweeney wrote on his Twitter, "Apple and Google must be stopped if the metaverse is to be open to everyone. Well, it's a good thing that there are thousands of independent developers around the world working on the metaverse." But Apple's vision for the metaverse may have just been kicked into high gear in response to Meta's announcement. It's not as if Zuckerberg caught them by surprise, though. Apple has given us glimpses of their plans in the past. They acquired a number of companies that produce augmented and virtual reality products. In 2018, Apple acquired Aconia Holographics. Aconia Holographics was a startup that specialized in making lenses for AR glasses. A year before, Apple finalized the acquisition of Ravana, yet another company that produced a mixed reality headset known as Totem. The headset was designed to merge augmented and virtual reality technologies using pass-through cameras to facilitate screen-based augmented reality features. Due to the acquisition, the headset never saw the light of day. In 2015, Apple also acquired another augmented reality startup called Mateo. Mateo gave birth to the Mateo Creator, which could create augmented reality scenarios in just a few minutes. Mateo had somehow made a name for itself, and it even secured high-profile clientele such as Ferrari, who used the product to create an augmented reality showroom. Other augmented reality companies acquired by Apple include PrimeSense in 2013, Emotion in 2016, RealFace in 2017, and the most recent Next VR in 2020. In terms of future plans that Apple may have with the metaverse, Quo states that the company could create augmented reality contact lenses that could find their way to the market in the next decade. Despite not being a guaranteed product, Quo says that the contact lenses might just bring electronics from the era of visible computing to invisible computing. Yes, Apple may seem silent at the moment, even as the other mover and shaker companies announce their metaverse plans and visions. But make no mistake, just as the company remained quiet while others were scrambling for the smartphone market, we are almost sure that this will be a repeat of the same. The shift to what is now being referred to as Web 3.0 has begun, but it will only become a reality when Apple finally announces its big move.
Okay, so this is something which I wanted to tell, but let's understand that what kind of technology you should learn and what are the top 7 technologies that powers the metaverse. Let's understand actually, because sometimes when we go, because when I was talking to my friend, she was also telling me that it's not all about that you say, okay, fine, I know the metaverse can do this and that. The first question only, because it's a very new concept and not many people know about it. So the company firstly asks you that, what do you understand by a metaverse? What kind of technology is it? So let's understand that first. So metaverse is a concept of 3D digital world. It consists of a virtual space which can create an avatar. You can create an avatar of yours. You can create an avatar of anybody. And with that avatar, you can either play a game, you can go for shopping, you can hang out with a virtual friend, you can go and have a coffee at a virtual coffee shop, you can work with your colleague in a virtual office and do so many things. Just like a video game or maybe a kind of a socialization tools which is used. So why it is used by Facebook? Facebook is actually a kind of a social networking site which try to create virtual friendship and try to create a connection between people who have met or who are in friends or who are not in in friend book. So this kind of environment, now they want to give you an experience that why don't you meet this virtual friend in a virtual environment and have a coffee, have a chat, and do whatever you do with physically with your friend. So the idea of this metaverse originated from Neil Stephenson in 1992 when he wrote a novel called Snow Crash. And this novel became a very big hit in the online world where he used the word digital avatar. And he said that you can create a digital avatar to explore and escape from the real world and go to a world of imagination which you always dream. Like you can go in universe, you can go and sit on the top of the aeroplane and fly. You can walk on the sea bed. So all these kinds of things he wrote in his book. And little later, a decade later, a very big technology company which have started to build their own version of futuristic metaverse, and he gave the words actually metaverse. So the metaverse, they came up with the term and they said that why not actually make it reality, what is written? And the big company started, most of the big companies started working on this technology. And also the COVID-19 pandemic actually has accelerated the interest in developing metaverse because COVID-19 made us all lonely, made us all isolated, and showed us a world where you cannot physically move around and have friendship and physically meet people so easily. Still, people have that kind of a thing in the mind that I should not mix with people, I should not touch. So virtual space has become more demanding now. So there is a more demand for interactive way of connecting with people, working remotely with people. Virtual 3D space has been created so that the employees can join meeting, they can have a party, they can catch up. So Microsoft also came up with something called Microsoft Mesh. And this Microsoft Mesh they released in 2021 as an example, where you can create an avatar of yours or your friend and mingle with those avatars. And you can have a team meeting, you can have fun, you can play games and all. Okay. And the next thing, the technologies which I was telling that which powers the metaverse, the first technology is blockchain and cryptocurrency. You all know that blockchain provides a decentralized, transparent solution for a kind of a digital transactions. Mostly people, uh, you know, what do you say, associate blockchain with bitcoins, some kinds of assets which can be digitally collected. You can transfer a value, you can transfer an asset. So it basically talk about interportability. Cryptocurrencies are something which are more linked with blockchain, and people are doing the course on blockchain because this is going to take and bring a lot of disruption in the banking and financing industry also. Today actually we were actually next week having a project centric day on 10th, and some of the students who are not engineering students, the management, they were sitting with me today and came to my room and they said, ma'am, we want to do something different. And one of the girl, she said that, ma'am, was I went on holiday in the US and I met my friend there, and they were talking about the blockchain, you know, in social media, in social media networking. And it seems very interesting for me. And I want to do a research on that. Can I do it? Because I'm not a technology person. And then we sat for 1 hour and we moved around many things because I was already preparing for this your session. And I said, yeah, this is something new. And I added few slides from what we discussed in this session also. So the blockchain is widely used in social networking site in creating transparency, privacy, security issues, which has become a very big issue and concern for everybody, that I should be my everything should be private. Influencers want to get paid when they are on YouTube or anything, they get paid very less. But with the blockchain and all these kinds, maybe that the entire game will change. So that's where the blockchain is not only used in the financial world, but it all. One more example which I came across while I was doing, very interesting one, is that you can buy land in the metaverse. And that was very interesting. That how do you buy a land? So you can buy a virtual land, not a physical land. In a central land, which we say, you can become a player and you can purchase 16 into 16 meter land parcel, which will be in the form of something called NFTs. And this NFT word also fascinated me a lot, which is non fungible tokens. And with the game of cryptocurrencies and all those kinds, the support of blockchain technology is going to give you a power to own a virtual land. It can be in the moon. You can own a land. And it is not only about holding or owning a virtual land, but you can sell it later. It will become like a virtual gold. You can buy a virtual gold in the world of the world. Just give me a moment. So what I'm trying to tell you is NFTs, non-fungible tokens. And this is something which interested me. And I said that, something you should be knowing about it. So I'll talk about that NFTs because I'll show you in the other slide one video also on that. This I was also trying to understand what it is. So in future, the cryptocurrency can actually incentivize people to actually work in metaverse. Okay.
You may
Like,
have
for
heard
example,
of a 10-second video artwork that sold for $6.6 million in late February. Or perhaps the video clip of a LeBron James slam dunk that a fan paid $208,000 to own. These transactions are part of a new digital investment craze that has exploded over the past year. But what makes these assets that exist solely on the internet so valuable? These digital assets are known as non-fungible tokens, or NFTs. Blockchain technology allows these items to be publicly authenticated, serving as a digital signature to certify who owns it and that it is an original work. NFTs cannot be exchanged on a like-for-like basis, as each one is unique, in contrast to fungible assets like dollars, stocks, or bars of gold. Take it from art collector and investor Pablo Rodriguez Fraile, who bought a 10-second video clip by artist Beeple in October and turned it around for $6.6 million at the end of February.
Same argument as, you can go into the Louvre and take a picture of the Mona Lisa and you can have it there, but it doesn't have any value because it doesn't have the provenance or the history of the work. Again, the reality here is that this is very, very valuable because of who is behind.
The start of the rush has been linked to the launch of the NBA's Top Shot website, which allows users to buy and trade NFTs in the form of video clip highlights of games. A user paid $208,000 to acquire a clip of a LeBron James slam dunk.
It's been really cool because we've launched the public beta in October, and already since then we processed over almost $250 million in transactions.
Some athletes are seizing on the opportunity. Super Bowl winning tight end Rob Gronkowski is launching his own digital trading cards as NFTs in March, telling Reuters he expects millions.
This is a digital trading card that I am letting, my fans be able to get a piece of the action and share these iconic Super Bowl moments with me in this all new digital format.
Examples of NFTs range from digital artworks and sports cards to pieces of land in virtual environments, and even as digital memorabilia. Twitter boss Jack Dorsey has just put up for sale the first tweet ever, his own from 15 years ago. An early bid stood at $2.5 million. Dorsey has said proceeds will go to a charity fighting extreme poverty. Like many new niche investment areas, there is the risk of major losses if the hype dies down. OpenSea, a marketplace for NFTs, saw monthly sales volume grow to $86.3 million in February, citing blockchain data. Just a year ago, sales were at 1.5 million. For now, enthusiasts and traders like NFT investor Nate Hart are caught up in the excitement.
The hype is extremely high right now. I've used the analogy a couple times that, early NFT guys have kind of been presented with the same opportunity as maybe people who found Bitcoin early. Nobody can predict the future, but the opportunity is huge.
Okay. So just give me a few seconds. I'm answering one mail. Huh? Just give me a few seconds. Just give me a few seconds. Sorry about that. So you saw that how in the future the cryptocurrencies or blockchain can make people work. So there are many companies and many celebrities who are using this concept of metaverse, like you have Snoop Dogs, you have firms in very big MNC company like HSBC, PwC, Samsung, JP Morgan. They have also purchased virtual plot of land in metaverse. So you could purchase a smallest plot of a virtual land on a decentralized, metaverse or sandbox, and you can and you can own it for many years. And the same piece of virtual real estate, you can sell it after some time at a higher cost. It will just have the same kind of appreciation how you have in the physical land. So this is about the speciality about the virtual land. The next technology, what we are going to discuss is the virtual reality and augmented reality. Because the virtual reality and augmented reality together called mixed reality, this is a technology which gives a immersive and engaging 3D experience. So that's the entry point of you to enter into the world of metaverse. So you can now, and I'm not going to focus on what's the difference between, the AR and VR. And let's look into the next part, which is the next technology, which is AI. So AI is widely applied in many fields, including your facial recognitions, faster computing, autonomous car. So AI experts are also using certain aspect of AI or applying it in creating immersive metaverse. So that is also used. The next very important technology which is used is 3D construction. So this is not a very new technology because 3D reconstruction has been there for a long time. The real estate agencies were using 3D construction, what you call the videos to give the potential buyer who can't visit physically the site and see the model apartment. So they were doing a virtual visit to the site and seeing the property which they can't see in person. So most of the agency has adopted the 3D printer also, which can create, a printer can make a house also. Those kinds of things are coming up. So 3D reconstruction technology actually generate a virtual property. It can make a virtual property tour. So metaverse can actually make many things very easier. A person can sit at home and look at his house from anywhere. BMW is using a 3D construction model and AR and VR to make you feel how your car will be after it is made, once they design the car for you. And the next very important technology is IoT. So IoT, which was introduced in 1999, and now IoT is connecting every physical object with the Internet of Things through sensors and devices, which you all know. So IT is going to also be used widely, and it is also used widely in connecting various kinds of things to the cloud. It can be a thermostat, it can be a voice activated speaker, medical device. So wide things of data are collected using the IoT sensors, and this has also become an integral part of the metaverse. So that was all about metaverse. Let's look into this next part of the technology, or the next trend in technology. So I was looking at the next trend and I found that security is a major issue nowadays. Everybody talks about technology, everybody talks about big things. Then again, today when I was discussing with one set of students, and they said that, ma'am, Bangalore traffic is becoming very worse day by day. And I said, true, I agree, because when I drive and come back home, and by the time I come back home, I'm so tired because the traffic is bad. And they started telling, ma'am, Bangalore is an IT city. Why can't they do something to? And they say that they were trying to make it as a smart city. Why can't they do something to, you know, avoid the congestion in the traffic? And then I said, why don't you people think about it? Because you are the generation who are going to, when you are identifying a problem, you have to also find out the solution. Today, technology is there to help. Then one boy said, Bam, can we use IoT? I said, can IoT alone avoid the taxation, the congestion on the traffic? He said, no, ma'am, but IoT, in a way, it can maybe a camera with a sensor, or maybe on the road, if we can have sensor which can measure the number of cars on the road, and also a speed sensor which can measure through the speed of the car that what is the traffic. And then that data is pulled into cloud, and through that, in an application program using ML and AI and ML, then it can predict that whether there will be a congestion, and it can control the traffic. I said, my dear, this is already happening in Bangalore. The Bangalore is using those kinds of prediction and all. Almost most of the 80% of the signals are working on that. Then he said, what about, ma'am, traffic violation? Why do we have in India so many traffic policemen standing and doing this? Then there was one boy who said, ma'am, I was in Los Angeles, and there was an incident which happened where all the traffic is managed. There's no traffic policeman managing the traffic. All the traffic is managed through the technology, through IoTs, through AI. It tells through the app, you can understand that which route is congested, what it is, and everything you can find out. Okay. So they said, why don't you check? So then he said, ma'am, there was one incident which happened in Los Angeles that the entire traffic was jammed for 2-3 days. Reason being, somebody hacked into the database and manipulated the traffic signals just for fun. Then what is a security, ma'am? Then I said, yes, security is a big problem because you can have technology, but privacy and security is a major issue. Then we came across the concept of zero trust. Zero trust is actually a kind of a security model or a principle which corporate network is based on. That means that it is a principle which says don't trust anyone, even if he's a CEO or the founder of the company. For security reason, you should not trust anyone. Even a prime minister and a president of the country should not be trusted. That kind of security, if you can provide to your network or to the server or to the client, then your security is really good. So how do you protect your network? How do you do something? And how do you secure your devices? How do you secure your data? So we all actually work in an office on a PC, which is wired to a wall, which is connected to some other devices, maybe a mobile. We are working as a remote worker, and there's a lot of bad influence, a lot of bad threats which are available in the environment, internet environment, like ransomware, data breach. So many things are there which we have to handle. So many companies now, they don't have a single physical location where their work take place. They have the employees who are geographically dispersed among various locations, and they are accessing the server. So how do you keep these changes, and how do you control the access to provide zero trust security? So we can actually provide the zero trust security model, and the idea behind that is to not to trust anyone, and then provide in the connected world where everybody is connected to your server a model of zero trust. So you maintain a security parameters where everything is automatically trusted with zero trust. Means nobody are given by default a trust. He's a CEO of the company, he's a founder of the company, so let him have the authorization to access anything. So that kind of secure network is built by the company. And in this model, individual to device or individual to individuals or services or applications, access is provided. Device like computers, tablet phones, your mobile phones will have a kind of a access management systems, which are provided with certificate or credentials they use to prove their identity when they are attached to a corporate network, maybe through Ethernet or wireless connection at a cafe, a free LAN, whatever you're using. So they're allowed to these. So this access management system, which I explained when I was doing the AWS, can also evaluate your device health. You are connected through a device, and that particular device health in terms of security, how it is, that device is also checked. Also, a device which is running a specific version of the software, whether it is a approved software, unapproved software, you know, that is also checked. So whenever you're connecting a device to a corporate connection network, they check everything. Your device software applications which on which you are running your device, or whatever, even if it is an operating system. So in order to protect a system from any kind of a compromised situation, they have do this. So if a device, the first thing before giving you access, they check the device. If the device check fail, or if a user try to access a protected resource from unapproved device, then request is denied. You can't connect to the my daughter is working in a software company, and she's got two devices, one from the company and one from the client. And when she's working in the client server and connecting to the client server, she has to use the same device which company the client has given. And when she's working with her company, she has to use other device, and that particular device she can't do anything. If she's doing anything, whatever activity she was doing, it has been recorded and they know about it. So whenever she has to watch some Netflix content and all, she takes my computer or her own laptop and uses that. So the user control is actually handled by something which are called identity provider services. So this is a services in zero trust environment which allow the user to use the services and also check the device which is connected to the server. So user might also use a username and password. They can have a certificate or a token by the second security as a second security factor which is given, which is constantly changed. In many cases, the user identity is also treated as a single entity. Like a person will get a single username or password, or maybe a team of people may get a same credential to access the or share the same resources on the network. So that also shared identity can be provided, credential can be provided. So your identity token can be used to access a particular service with a simple single user ID and password or credential. So that is one which is done. Let's take an example that let's say we want to access a resource like payroll system. And the security system first check the remote resource, also try to avoid any impersonalization of secure resource, which is also called mutual authentication, the core principle of zero trust model. The core principle of zero trust is that you can't trust any device, you can't trust any user, you can't trust any application, which is not on the corporate network or secured network. So no matter, it doesn't matter only if the CEO computer is also plugged into corporate network in her office. Suppose, let's say she's working in the headquarters, that also will undergo the control check at various level. Every time when that certain task is performed, when certain access request is sent, all those are checked every time, even though you know that it is a CEO who's the highest position, who's making the request, his device is approved, his device need to be first approved, and the checking the credential and the accessibility of that person. So when you are permitted to access a specific data you are requesting, you are provided with something called a session key. Okay, I'll go to that. So this is about mutual authentication. So when you are accessing the session key is an authorization, specific to single interaction, single session. So each of this check control or the security what you are providing is basically to avoid any kind of bad threats, malware spreading on your network, or man-in-middle attack or something like that. So this verification, the access request through a particular device, all are checked at various levels. So you use a lot of intelligence system at various points. You use a lot of your all interactions are encrypted through communication channels. They use tunnels to do that. There are many layers of security which are called defense. various kinds of defense. So zero trust is actually becoming a very, very important concept in designing the access system, also on the cloud and enterprises service, softwares. The providers like, for example, Microsoft, Google, Amazon, Oracle, all of them are using a zero trust, principles. So building a zero trust system take a lot of planning, a lot of coordination, a lot of security requirement, various kinds of level of access of control, level of security, so that you can have a zero trust environment. So this is one thing which I wanted to tell. I'll show you a video now.
Of course, I can pull this data for you. Let me just get to the office.
Sure, I can pull this data for you. Hold on a sec. It's in your inbox.
Till not too long ago, going to the office was like entering a castle. The organization data was managed within the premise, and the security was monitoring and protecting everything that was going into or out of the premise. The basic assumption was that everything within the security perimeter can be trusted. Today, you no longer have to set foot in the office building to come to work. Companies enable employees to approach company assets through mobile devices and cloud software, regardless of where they are located. The security perimeter is no longer confined to the walls of an office building. Valuable business data transfers continuously between SaaS applications, IaaS applications, data centers, remote users, IoT devices, and more, which makes cyber criminals' life much easier. It gives them a wider attack vector, more entry points, and once they are in, it can take months to locate. In the meantime, they can collect and damage huge amounts of assets. Clearly, it's time for a new security paradigm. The zero trust security approach. Never trust, always verify. Across the industry, security professionals are shifting to a zero trust security state of mind. No device, user, workload, or system should be trusted by default, regardless of the location it is operating from, neither inside or outside the security perimeter. As a matter of fact, according to a Checkpoint recent survey, 52% of security professionals noted that their organization has begun or had completed an implementation of the zero trust approach, with 18% planning to start implementation during the coming year. Zero trust is more than just a concept. It's a tangible security model with 7 security principles. Zero trust networks. When moving towards zero trust security, it is crucial you divide and rule your network. Identifying your valuable assets and defining microsegments around them create multiple junctions and inspection points that block malicious or unauthorized lateral movement, so that in the event of a breach, the threat is easily contained and isolated. Zero trust workloads. Securing workloads, particularly those who are running in the public cloud, is essential, since these cloud assets, containers, functions, and VMs are vulnerable and attractive targets to malicious actors. Zero trust data. Zero trust is all about protecting the data while it is shared continuously between workstations, mobile devices, application servers, databases, SaaS applications, and across the corporate and public networks. Zero trust people. With 81% of data breaches involving stolen credentials, it is clear that username and passwords no longer prove the identity of a user. Identities are easily compromised, so access control to your valuable assets must be strengthened. Zero trust devices. With 70% of breaches involving compromised devices, every device connected to your network should be treated as a threat vector, whether it's a workstation, a mobile, or an IoT device. Security teams must be able to secure every device on their network and isolate it if compromised. 2 more principles that cross all platforms are visibility and analytics. You can't protect what you can't see or understand. A zero trust security model continually monitors, logs, correlates, and analyzes every activity across your network. Automation and orchestration. A zero trust security architecture must automatically integrate with the organization's broader IT environment to enable speed and agility, improved incident response, policy accuracy, and task delegations. And that's the zero trust model in a nutshell. Want to learn more about how to implement zero trust? Read The Ultimate Guide to Zero Trust Security by Checkpoint.
Okay. So you saw that zero trust has become so popular now. Let's look into the other technology. Just give me a second. I'll drink water. Next is called, very interesting topic for all, called generative, AI. Any idea why? I'll just take a sip of tea. You people can tell me. What is generative AI? Anybody has heard about this? Hmm. Okay. So let's talk about this. Before I talk about generative AI, we will just play a game. I think it's a very pretty similar, familiar game or very common game. Take a look at this series of image. Can you predict which item can come in the last circle? Which should come? Any idea? Can you put in the chat box?
Leaf.
This leaf? This one? This one? Let's see. That will be the Batman. Right. Now let's try one more. What do you think should come now? Yeah, see the last circle. What do you think it will come?
Pumpkin. Pumpkin.
Okay. So let's see. So the pumpkin will come. Okay. Just a minute. 1 minute. I'll just switch on the. Just give me a few seconds. I'll just switch on the lights and come. It's very dark. So when we are actually used to play this mind game a lot, right? Where it is very easy for us to imagine that what is going to come next, and you might probably notice this image which has a similar kind of a theme, like for example Halloween's or something like that, and your brain will store a lot of information about the familiar objects. It will try to create a rule to predict what is going to come up next. This is the ability which is the ability of a natural intelligence. But when we have learned that the same thing can we teach a computer to do, and can we ask the computer to create a new pattern just like this? This is called a generative artificial intelligence. So now let's look at how it works. So computers with AI are basically used to detect pattern in a usual way, a very useful way. For example, a phone camera can be great at recognizing your face, that people that have been trained to recognize the face is yours, and it will unlock the phone for you. Um, they can all do this by looking for a pattern in the image. It can map out the distance, different parts of the faces, which is also called the biometric part, and very easy to make a prediction whether the pattern match with what you have stored. And this is called the generative AI. So the generative AI comes when you realize that you can train a computer to create a pattern it is trained to recognize. Let's say you train a computer with specific pictures on series of noses, and you can ask the computer to analyze the pixel in the image to learn what nose look like we did one exercise of no coding AI. There also we did that, how to recognize a different breeds of dogs, and if something looks similar like a mob which looks like a flurry dog, how can it recognize that it is not? So you can imagine how this could be to have these in the faces and then entire image. So you can go to a particular site. It's a very interesting site. While I was doing a research, I found the site called this person does not exist.com, and that's a generative AI. It uses a generative AI to create random human faces. What happens, it is said that you have a similar looking person, 7 people are there in the world which look similar to you, right? But if you want to create a random face whose face does not match with anyone, you can do it with the generative AI. This is a site to do that. Now, a site which claims that 90% of the fakes are not recognized, these sites, when they create also a clone or a fake of a person and says that 90% of these are not recognized by an ordinary person. If you look at it, you will not never say this is a fake. And 50% are not even recognized by experienced photographer also. So for example, this is a site called Online Deep Fake Maker. And you can create a deep fake video of any person and make a look-alike of that. So this is a real person. You can make a look-alike and create a video from that particular figure. And only 50% of a very experienced photographer can make, a difference between that. Otherwise, nobody can. So this type of analysis and generation can be used on this technique like deep fake, where you ask the computer to replace existing face. And this can be done by training it on series of faces you have provided. So like this, you provide a series of face to a computer, which will become a training set data. And the pattern recognition and generation is used basically to create a kind of a fake, similar looking, but little different, image. That is what is generative AI. So generative AI, where are we using it? The generative AI is, apart from the pattern recognize, is also used in creating original music, which is trained by learning from different music genres. The tool like Compose AI, you can go to the site and use a technology called GPT-3, okay, which has been trained on billions of learning parameters, just like human being. And this technology can be used, it is used in GitHub also, where you can create a music which is unique, which is not a copy. So what you can do is you can put a lot of music as a training set. And out of that, it will mix up and it will make a unique tune or a music. So this is also one thing which is the companies are doing. Now, I'm going to talk about a technology which companies like GitHub, you all know that is the company by Microsoft. Okay. Already you have learned from Altaf sir that how you can store and create own repository where you can store your own codings and all. So GitHub has a very good tool, which I want you people to learn in this session. And this tool is called Copilot. Okay. This Copilot helped the programmer write the entire function and cut down the time to generate the codes. So what happens? Suppose I will show you now. I can't download it and use it, but I'll show you some examples that, for example, you want to scrap the price from Amazon on Nike shoes, like how we did for the UI path where we wanted to scrap the stock price from Money Control or any of the site. You can do that. You want to write a code on that, and you are writing a wrong code, and then you are trying error, trial, error, all these. What GitHubs will do, it will automate that. It will automate the coding for you or suggest the correct coding for you. You just have to start writing the code, and everything it will fill for you. What it does, it uses an open AI system to generate the code from the millions of repositories of public data, the public coding. It uses that, senses it, and predict what code you can be using to create a certain kinds of application. So it generates the code for you. So generative AI is very impressive, but it has some limitation also. It requires massive amount of data sets to train, so that it can predict something, it can come up with the desirable results. In case of something like Copilot, you can also trust the code it writes, which actually works, and it can create anything new. The technology is very good. It also combines the information from the pattern you also know. So it's a disruptive technology. It's helping the people process the large database of the code which is available and generate a new code without thinking a lot or without actually struggling a lot to create a new code. So this is one thing which I want you people to do it. Let's look into something.
Understanding generative AI, its impacts and limitations. Artificial intelligence has endowed us with limitless possibilities. From intelligent marketing to fraud prevention and 24/7 customer support, artificial intelligence has transformed every aspect of businesses and lives. Today, it can also enable machines to use textual or visual data to create new content via what we can refer to as generative AI. What is generative AI? Generative AI refers to artificial intelligence algorithms that enable using existing content like text, audio files, or images to create new plausible content. In other words, it allows computers to abstract the underlying pattern related to the input and then use that to generate similar content. It offers immense benefits such as ensuring the generation of higher quality outputs by self-learning from every set of data, lowering the risks associated with a project, training reinforced machine learning models to be less biased, enabling depth prediction without sensors, enabling localization and regionalization of content via deepfakes, allowing robots to comprehend more abstract concepts both in simulation and the real world. With such significant benefits, generative AI can be used for distinct purposes. Identity protection. Generative AI avatars have been used to protect the identity of interviewees in news. Reports about the persecution of LGBTQ people in Russia. Image processing. It helps in intelligent upscaling of low-resolution images to high-resolution images. Film restoration. It enhances old images and old movies by upscaling them to 4K and beyond, which generates 60 frames per second instead of 23 or less, and removes noise, adds colors, and makes it sharp. Audio synthesis. Generative AI can render any computer-generated voice into one that truly sounds like human voice. Even I, the narrator of this video, is a product of generative AI. Healthcare. Generative AI can be employed for rendering prosthetic limbs, organic molecules, and other items from scratch when actuated through 3D printing, CRISPR, and other technologies. It can also enable early identification of potential malignancy to more effective treatment plans. IBM is currently using this technology to research antimicrobial peptide, AMP, to find drugs for COVID-19. As generative AI makes it possible for machines to create new content effectively, it also comes with a set of limitations. Hard to control. Some models of generative AI like GANs are unstable, as well as it is hard to control their behavior. They sometimes do not generate the expected outputs, and it's hard to figure out why. Pseudo-imagination. Generative AI algorithms still need a vast amount of training data to perform tasks. GANs cannot create entirely new things. They only combine what they know in new ways. Security. Malicious actors can use generative AI for deceitful purposes like scamming people, fraudulent activities, and create fake spammy news.
Okay. So this is about generative AI, how it predicts and it can create a pattern or all those kinds. We will look into some into GitHub Copilot also and see something. So next thing which I want to discuss with you is the cross-platform tools. What are the cross-platform development tools which are available? So if you are planning for a new software product, you want to run your app on Android, or you want iPhones or iPhone, pad. 1 minute. You want, your app to work on iPhones, iPad, or suppose you want to create a desktop version for Windows and Mac. So the progressive work application you can use, which you are using, which runs on the browser, there are a lot of new development in that. There are a lot of cross-platform toolkits which are available, which will let you build anything from a single code base to a multiple operating system and platform. It looks very simple, and it looks a kind of a native version, but you can develop that using various kinds of platform. You can do a kind of an app with a great performance, designed for multiple operating system, designed for multiple devices, designed for running on multiple applications. So there's a cost of doing that, obviously, because if you want to develop something like that. So if you're a developer and you want to know that which of the platform is supporting the language, like for example, Swift for iOS, Mac OS, Kotlin for Android, C plus for Windows, and JavaScript for web. So in addition to the initial development cost, you will also have to, in this platform, develop or maintain all those versions of the software lifetime. So when you take a cross development platform, the development team chooses these tools for one reasons. One is to use these resources very effectively and build the same app 4 or 5 times when you're creating a single code base in some other platform. But in cross-platform toolkit, you just have to build once. You just have to create once, and you have to replicate that. So there are kind of certain problems also which are there. But then some examples which I want to give you are, and this is Titanium SDK. I think it has gone. So Titanium SDK is from Apps Accelerator and the PhoneGap. This is a commercial version of Apache Cordova. Both are supporting programming for JavaScript and packaging even for Android and iOS. Both you can develop that. Both product is easily sponsored. This can be you can create a lot of source project which can be developed into either an existing app. Also, you can put it into various platform, or you can develop a new kind of a app also for that. So this framework is very good for new app. There are a lot of other cross-platform tools which are available today. So one is the Iconic and the React. So Iconic and React Native are the current toolkit that help you building an app with any kind of a technology which you can use, like HTML, CSS, JavaScript. So both platform which I told you, the last one, this one, the Iconic and the Reactive Native, both are the toolkit which can be used as a cross platform, and these uses a JavaScript. They also have pre-built UI components. There are certain differences in both the site Iconic and the reactive native. So Iconic is actually backed by the open source organizations, like all these organizations are backing this, whereas the reactive native is created by and supported by Facebook. Reactive native apps are very designed basically for deployment on iOS and Android, while Ionic, it's not Iconic, it's Ionic support window. So it's not on the iOS. So in this case, there are third-party tools which are deployed these applications on the platform. So these toolkits can leverage the existing skill of the web developers. Both React Native and Ionic actually is a good site, and I want all of you to have a look on it. You can build an app on these cross-platform, applications, and you can use this. There are a few more which are there, like Flutter, which is also there. Xamarin is also there. .form is a subset of the where you can use app built with Xamarin, can be put into Android phone, iPhone, iPad, Mac on multiple platforms. It's a Microsoft project, and it is integrated also with something called Visual Studio, and it's a Microsoft premium development environment. So this you can use. So the Flutter based apps are very super fast. The performance is really good. It has SDK for iOS and Android. So cross-platform tools are basically a very good concept when it comes to develop a app and run it on a multiple platform. So you can use this, you can trust this, and these are available online, and you can try it out. So these are the things which I told you already. Now let me go to something very interesting part of the session. That's called GitHub Copilot. So what is a GitHub Copilot? GitHub Copilot is an artificial intelligence tool, just like a generative AI which generate or predict a pattern and can be used to generate certain things. GitHub Copilot is an open AI platform which can write the entire functions of programming language and complete it automated for you. It's like autocomplete feature of Word. And it uses a technology called GPT-3, which stands for Generative Pre-trained Transformer. And it's a natural language processor that uses all kind of data repository to predict what you will be writing. So it helps you in completing your code. Suppose you are stuck somewhere, you can use a GitHub Copilot and write a certain question. Write certain question, and it will write the answer or algorithm for you. So Copilot is used. It uses a new algorithm, which I said just like GPT-3 called Codex. Okay. And it focuses on the software source code. So although you can work with many popular programming language and framework, but the available, for example, like Python, JavaScript, Ruby, and others. And you already know that I told you the Microsoft owns this GitHub, and they made 1 billion investment in the company to create this codex called OpenAI. Okay. And this OpenAI code is using the public source, like the GitHub repositories, which you have created, and you store your coding in that. So more and more number of people are using this tools and storing the code in their repository, better it is becoming, because it can train the codex, to provide or automate or generate the code for you automatically. You can activate it by starting to write a function with a meaningful name. I will just show you that. And the Copilot will attempt to create that function for you. You can provide a detailed comment on how to use that. It will generate a new algorithm, which will be totally, most of the time it will be accurate. So you can say it's a kind of a next generation autocomplete for generating codes, right? It is at a very infancy stage, but GitHub Copilot is actually going to change the way you code in the future. So this is something which I want all of you to know about it. I'll just take you to the site on browser. For example, like this, it is going to complete. And then you can write down this. I want all of you to create this. You have to make an AI generated website with GitHub Copilot, which is very easy for you. You can do any assignment. I'm not necessarily saying that you do this, but I just thought of it that use next time when we are doing the session, Harinakshi ma'am, I want them to show me the UI path exercises which I've given them. And also I want them to use the GitHub Copilot and generate any code, not necessarily what I'm giving them.
Okay. Okay, madam.
Okay.
Next class or next to next class, madam?
Next class, because there's 1 week time there. And I'm just going to take them now to the GitHub, Copilot site.
Oh.
So just give me a few seconds. I'll just show them how it works. So this is the GitHub, the Python language if you want to write. So for example, you want to find something like days between 2 days. Okay, let's say like this. So you're writing it here. It will give you, it will generate the code for you. And you have to just press on this Alt+I or previous or accept it. Okay, this is one. Let's say this is a GitHub Copilot functions. Calculating interest, for example. You want to calculate interest. You just write, calculate simple interest. And when you write that, what happens? I'll just show you. So it is showing you, see here, actual, the thing, and you can open that and you can find various solution and various code for actually generating the interest. And you can accept any one of this. See here. So you have written this code, it is suggesting you this. So this is one. Then tweets between different particular user. See, you can see this. Then there's one more. Whether number is prime or not. Email from a screenshot. Find a phone number, take a screenshot, convert it into text, and find all the phone number in it. So it has generated the code for you. Then there is a JavaScript. In the JavaScript, it tried to find all the email, present in the HTML document. So it will generate the code. This is very interesting, which I was telling. The Scrap Amazon website to get a price. So you just write here, some Scrap Amazon website to find best price for a product. It will give you the code for doing this. Building Express server from a comment. Okay. Fetching item from MongoDB server. Then you are building a Todo app. All these are there. I'll just write this website address. And I want all of you to go through this. This is going to really help you. Just a minute. Okay. Okay. Yeah. So I stop it here. And I want you all to now ask me questions if there is any question. I wanted to cover one more portion, but I don't think we have a time. That's on the computer vision, the facial recognition system. But then I thought, let us stop here. It's too much today to understand. Let me see if I have. Okay. So any questions?
Yes, ma'am.
Nobody has any question?
Yes, ma'am. I have one question.
Yeah, please tell me.
How the metaverse could affect our mental well-being as its users, ma'am?
So this is a psychological question, right? See, any technology, right? Any technology when you are using, it's not about the technology. It's about how are you experiencing or how do you use that technology. So metaverse is obviously it's going to make us more isolated. People will be only in the virtual world. I remember I was reading one article on Forbes, and it was talking about the effect of metaverse on mental health. That the employees who are actually working in the virtual environment, how they are experiencing kind of thing. And metaverse basically allow you to wear a VR set or AR set and create an avatar and visit several places. You can spend money, you can meet people virtually, you can engage virtually with somebody and create a digital avatar and real. You are living in a world of imagination where you are trying to hide your identity. You are trying to escape from certain kinds of a feeling. And it is making you isolated. It is making you, it has a lot of kind of a negative side effects which can come into the teenagers. If you see today's teenagers, most of them are highly suffering from depression, anxiety, loneliness. They don't have sleep. They sleep very late in the night. You can check around you, your own son, your own daughter, or maybe your colleagues' son and daughters. They have these kinds of problem. Then there is a lot of physical health issue problem. Your neck health, your nerves issues. All these are actually making a worse effect on our life. And if we actually, what happens is when you kind to depersonalize yourself and create a fake identity of yours. Suppose, for example, I showed and I told also that I'm not believing in something where I can't buy Gucci, but I go on the digital world and I buy a Gucci dress and I wear it and I roam around. Isn't it giving me a kind of keeping me in the world of imagination and not allowing me to face the reality? So, actually speaking, all these kinds of technology is isolating us. It is making us mentally lethargic. It is making us little unproductive, and it is also creating, a kind of a emotional, unstabilized, mind in the youngsters. They're not able to tolerate many things. They want everything. If they don't want it, they can achieve it on the virtual world. So this is not something which should be promoted, but then this is how it has to be, and it will, because the time when we were in the college, we didn't have mobile phone and we didn't feel that we require some connection with our parents 24/7 or with anybody, and we managed without that. But today, if we imagine a world without a mobile phone, it is very difficult to imagine. Our kid says that, how did you survive a world? Similarly, the people, the young generations or the coming generation will say that, how did you survive without virtual world? Weren't you lonely? Weren't you, depressed if you were not having this kind of environment? So I don't promote this, but that is what is the market all about. Yeah. Any other question? This is my personal view.
No, ma'am.
Anybody who wants?
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay. So try to have a little research on various things. Students are, should be encouraged to do research. If they do research, there's a reflective thinking. Whatever session you're attending, it should lead you to think about it. It should lead you. Even somebody has asked me a question about mental well-being of this technology. Go ahead, don't stop it here by asking questions. Why don't you go ahead and just do a research and publish a paper on it? Right? I told you a lot about today. I will share this particular, news very soon. In 20 days, I'm coming up with a patent. And this patent is all, I just know when I was talking to you, I got a message. So I just want to share with you. So I have wrote with my friend one particular research article, and we are going to develop a working model. It's called wearable electronic monitoring device for baby. baby control using GPRS. So you people can come out with something. And I got so many good projects from you, and I was thinking that we'll go ahead and do the patent. Just now I registered on the site on IPR, and it gave me a green signal that it can go ahead. Maybe in 15-20 days it will get published. And then grant will happen later, but at least I tried. So what I'm trying, it's not for me, it is, see, I've reached to a career level where I don't have to do all these things. But still, it is the inquiry within you which can lead you to learn something, which can lead you to develop. So all of you should develop a project. Every time I tell you, please develop something new. Don't stick to the idea which is given by somebody. Copying idea, stealing idea is very easy. Creating your own idea is very difficult. Any other question? No? So Harinakshi ma'am, so should we end the session?
Yes, ma'am.
And please tell these people, all your, training center, that work on that UI path, the file which you said you have shared with them. Let them do at least one exercise. I don't want them to do all. They can do all exercise, but when they're showing me, they can show one exercise. The main point is that they should learn this. What they are learning in their own center, that is something very good. But apart from that, if they're learning in these sessions something new, that's really helpful for them. And the next assignment, which will be very easy for them to do, is the GitHub Copilot. Just do something on the GitHub Copilot and show me. Maybe Altaf sir can be, a good guide to everybody, because he taught you all. So Altaf sir, are you there? Because he's the person, I think, who taught you all on GitHub. So maybe he can, help you and give you a little better understanding that how you can use GitHub Copilot to write the codes in Java or maybe in Python and all. And you can develop something. So if you're getting stuck, why don't you use Copilot and see? And see, I'm not saying that please don't stop developing codes. That is basic. But if you're getting stuck, you want to develop a project and you're getting stuck in certain coding, use Copilot and find out that what can be the coding, and then do it yourself. This can be a help for you to learning. Okay. Okay, then good night to all of you. See you in the next one.
Madam, Altaf sir is not there. I'll inform him.
Yeah, just tell him that if he can help people, if somebody needs help, maybe they can contact him on Copilot, that how to use. Actually, there's no help needed because it's very easy to do it. And GitHub Copilot is an extension. Okay. So you can just take it as an extension, and that extension you can use it, and you can just. So what I was trying to do, how do you install the GitHub extension? You can just install the GitHub Copilot extension in your, some kind of a thing which I forgot what it is. You can just go to GitHub and you can find out that how can you install it and it's a free to use. And if you already have a login ID and password, you can just go to the GitHub and you can find out that how do you install this extension in which of the Stack Overflow, and then you can use that to write the coding in HTML, Java, or whatever language you're using, and develop a particular solution for that. Okay. Okay, then bye. See you all. Good night.
Thank you, madam.